Okay, 2 days ago I changed the oil and did all the other checks as required in the service manual for the 600-mile break-in. The oil that came out really didn't look as bad as I thought it would look. I mean, after I looked at it in the pan, I could see that there was probably some clutch material in there and so on. But the last part of this is the throttle body sync up or sync. Yeah. All right. So what I got for the sync up here, I looked. There's several options out there. There's one. I forget the name of them. There's one that has like liquids, so you put like a fluid in there, because these all used to be mercury. But this one, made by Carbtune, it's the Carbtune Pro. It's kind of recommended. I looked at some reviews, and this one here doesn't require any kind of calibration. It doesn't have any liquids to spill out. It's got no mercury, but it's got like these stainless steel pieces here, and you hook the lines up, and in the lines there's a restrictor. I don't know if the camera's going to catch it, but yeah, you can catch it right there. There's a little restrictor that you have to have because there's so much oscillation. And so what that does is that just balances it to keep the pulsations so much from reaching the gauge. So, I tried to go cheap. I couldn't do it. So, I went ahead and invested in this piece. And still, doing it myself, I know that I'm going to save a lot of money as far as that. And then I also get the satisfaction of knowing that I did it. And because frankly, I took my Kawasaki to the dealer for its 600-mile service, and paid quite a bit. It was a couple $100, and for the money I got shorted a quart of oil because I asked for synthetic oil. They charged me for 3 quarts, and I found out later they only put in 2 quarts, and they didn't clean the chain like they were supposed to. They just put some clean grease on the outside of it, and there's some other things, but I'm not going to go into that. So I just decided I'm just going to do it on my own, and it's just not that complicated. And fortunately, on the FJ-09, it's pretty easy because there's not really a lot of plastics to really deal with, and so I can pretty much get down to the throttle bodies, inside of an hour, so probably less. One thing I do recommend though here, if you're going to do your own work, invest in a factory service manual. And don't buy it from the dealer. I'll put this on. I'll put the link to this where I found this on the description. It was half the cost that the dealer wanted. Just like college. You don't buy your books at the student bookstore because you're going to pay top dollar. So you shop around, and you can find them a little cheaper. Now I'm not going to do a play-by-play on removing all this, because actually Science Biker did a really good video on the same bike, except his was red, and I'm not really gonna, I don't really want to reproduce just what he did. He did a really good job, and that's actually where I found the link for the cheaper service manual. So Science Biker, if you're watching, thank you. That was you made a really good video, and I do suggest you go over to that. I'm making this mostly for my own satisfaction, and also in case there's any questions, warranty wise, if they say, well, your bike wasn't serviced, I'm going to have video proof that yes, it was serviced. And let's see if I can get a image of the clean oil here. Yeah, right here's the window, and you can see it's yellow, so it's got nice clean oil. And I put the new K&N filter on there. This next piece here, if this doesn't work out, then you'll never see it because I'll just not include it. I'm gonna try to do a time-lapse video with my Sena Prism, and it's going to be on the helmet, and the reason for that is here a few days ago I went to go take this thing off, and I don't know if the video is going to catch it. Oh yeah, it's not really, but when I went to go pop it off, the plastic piece that retained the camera popped off, and so you can see I have it zip tied here. I don't know if the zip tie, if the camera's really going to catch it. But anyways, so it's not coming off my camera for a while. I did contact Sena. They're sending me a new helmet mounting kit. But as you can see, I've put like a camera strap, attached it to the camera, because you know that thing just popped right off. The plastic just snapped, and had that came off on the freeway, then I would be without a Sena Prism right now. Okay, I started this job, from the bike fully assembled to where I'm at. Took me 15 minutes. And now, mind you, I have done this before. When I had all these pieces off after my little mishap. So it's really pretty easy. And some bikes it's going to be a lot more difficult because of all the plastics. Now, the ECU, you do not need to disconnect that. Again, watch Science Biker's video. He's got a much better video on that. Now, on his, it showed it had the three throttle bodies, and on his, the right side had the white paint. And so in the service manual, it says the one with the white paint, you just leave that one alone. You don't adjust that. You adjust these two to match that. So it's quite a job getting in here. I mean, it looks a lot more complicated than it is, but it really isn't. I mean, especially for this bike, and I guess that's part of the reason why I chose the kind of a more of a naked bike, you know, just because it's a little bit easier to get to. And you can see down here, this is where the spark plugs are going to go. These are the 3 coil packs. And so it'd be just a matter of removing a few hoses to get to it. But when the time comes, I'm going to do that myself too. Yamaha, I think they have the spark plug change at 8,000 miles. That seems like a little bit soon, but you know, when I do it, I may just replace them with some platinum or iridium, something that I know is going to last, and then I may just let it go until there's some problem. But you know, the FJ-09 is a performance bike, so or a high performance bike. You know, it's considered that. So maybe that's why you have the closer maintenance schedules, and of course you have to use premium gas and all that. But you know, that's the price you pay if you want to have the high performance vehicle. So anyways, I'm going to get this thing hooked up and warmed up, and then we'll see what the vacuum looks like, and then get it adjusted. From what I've read, you know, why you have to do it at 600 miles is because after this breaks in, these aren't balanced. So they balance them at the factory, and then you know, throughout the break-in period, then you know, there's always some wear. And so anyways, that's why we're here. So you know, it's nice to have it run I want it to run as smoothly and as efficiently as possible. So, and also keep up with the, you know, factory recommended maintenance schedule. So anyways, all right, got the lines all hooked up, and the engine is warming, and here's where we're at. You know, it's within spec right now. And the amount of vacuum isn't what matters. What matters is that all 3 throttle bodies are in sync within 10. They're all pretty much the same. So I'm going to go ahead and let this thing warm up and rev it a couple of times, and I may not even do an adjustment. So anyways, That's very good. I'm very, very happy with that. Spent over $100 on a tool, but I have the peace of mind knowing that everything's good. Okay, the bike is warmed up. It's 190 degrees, and I did slightly adjust this one right here, the one on the left. We'll call that one the number 1 cylinder, and the center is the number 2, and the one on the right is the number 3. Well, the number 1 was just slightly higher than all the rest, so I tweaked the screws just a little bit and revved it a few times, just as the manual says, and they are really, really even. And when you rev them, they come right back. They go. So I'm gonna call that good. My dog didn't like the exhaust, and he's noticed I run a fan here. One thing you really want to be sure of, and I know this seems like very simple, you want to have open doors and plenty of cross ventilation. So well, that's it. The carbs are synced, and all of my 600-mile service is complete. So I'll document this on my own spreadsheet. I keep a maintenance record, and I'll have this as a record too on YouTube. So I think really the message that I really want to say is if you can read a book and have some basic mechanical ability and the desire, or the desire to keep some of your hard-earned money in your pocket instead of giving it to a dealer or a mechanic someplace, there's not really anything that you really can't do. I mean, I've been a mechanic in my working career, but I was an automotive mechanic. And prior to that, before I had cars, I had bicycles. And I always worked on my own bicycles. And then I learned to work on my own cars. And a motorcycle is really just a big, heavy bicycle with an engine. So it just kind of crossed over. And at first, it seemed very complicated because everything is so compact. But you read the service manual and get some, look at YouTube and some of the forums, and save yourself some money. I mean, if I could find a mechanic that I could trust here in the West Valley, and for you viewers, if you're local West Valley and you know of an honest motorcycle mechanic that isn't going to charge me for something they don't do or some bullshit like that, let me know, because when it comes to doing the valve adjustment, I'm going to have to trust somebody to do that, because I don't think that's something that I really want to delve into. I'd rather have somebody that knows a little bit more about it. But I got some time. All right, I'm going to button this thing back up, and I'm going to go out for a ride today. All right, hour and a half from the time that I started taking everything apart. Got the manometer hooked up. Got warmed up to over 190 degrees. Had to make a slight adjustment, and now it's back together and ready to ride. So you could probably expect 2 to 3 hours, depending on how proficient you are. But mind you, I've had this apart a couple of times before, so it's pretty easy for me, and I kind of know where everything's at, and I didn't have any leftover screws. One of the things that I noticed on the Yamaha was that it had these little nylon screws. Okay, these little nylon screws. One of them, it's a Phillips head. One of them, when I got it, and this is the one here. I don't know if I can capture it or not, but the Phillips head piece is stripped out. It came that way. I didn't notice it when I bought the bike, What I did know is that the windshield nuts, the windshield screws that held my Kawasaki windshield in, are exactly the same size, and they're stainless steel. Now, with those nylon screws, the windshield was never really solid. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't tighten it enough to get it where it was really solid. I suppose Yamaha did that to save weight, or maybe because this windshield was intended to break away in case of an accident. I don't know. But I replaced those little nylon screws with the ones from Kawasaki. And yeah, they're not black, but I don't really care. And now there's no wobble. Before, this was really kind of wobbly. And I'll find out how it looks going down the road. If you're not into doing your own maintenance, I totally get that. But do your research, find a good mechanic, because you know what little tweaking I did, I doubt that a mechanic would take the time to fine tune everything like what I did. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's good mechanics out there, but most of them are out there, you know, because it's their job, and they got to get one bike done and get on the next one.
Well, this is the best part of having my 600-mile service done, is coming out in the morning to ride. My thermometer says it's only 82 degrees. That's probably about right. So, about 9:15 in the morning. Saw a video made by Agent Cox 000. He had found a little lookout point out here, and it's been a while since I've been out here. There's a lot of more houses and a lot more area has been developed since I've been out here, but his little lookout point up by the golf course looked kind of cool, so I thought I'd come out and check it out. And the bike is running absolutely wonderfully. It wasn't running bad before, but you know, now with fresh oil, maybe it's just me. I just feel like it's running better. Of course, I did tune the throttle bodies just a little bit. They were definitely within spec, but the only tuning I did was just very, very minor. There's a lot of golf courses in Arizona. Takes a lot of water to keep all that grass green, though. Still all under construction. And the grapevines in Arizona. Oh, great. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's kind of cool. It's kind of windy. Yeah, this is a big project, and you can bet something's going to go right there in that big old flat spot. Yeah, got a lot of. It's a little bit windy, so there's got a lot of dust. Can't really see the. Oh, I can see a little bit of the outline. I mean, the skyline of downtown Phoenix. I don't know if the camera will pick it up because it's in wide. And there's the Estrellas. Again, a lot of dust in the air. My bike is looking absolutely beautiful. You know, the 2017s were just released, and I'm glad that I didn't see that before I bought this one, because the two colors are this kind of a blue and electric white. I do like white, and I didn't know how this bike would look in white, and I really considered painting it. But you know, I've the gray, the gunmetal gray has kind of grown on me. I always thought that, well, I just liked the white bike. That's why I bought my Kawasaki, because it was the only white one that I had. You know, sometimes I know other motorcyclists won't think this is strange, but sometimes I'll just go sit in the garage for a little while. I'll take my iced tea or whatever, and me and the dog would just sit out there, and I got a chair, and I'll just sit there and just look at my motorcycle. I did that with a Kawasaki too. And you find all sorts of little things that need to be polished or cleaned or whatever. Last weekend I took this over to one of my riding friends' house, and he had one of his friends over there, and we just parked in his driveway and pulled the chairs out and sat there and just BS'd and all just looked at my bike. Anybody on the outside, anybody that doesn't ride would think that's just weird, but that's just totally cool. Alright guys, well, thanks for watching. I hope you like my videos. Give me a thumbs up if you do, or subscribe. I'll try to keep them coming. Stay safe out there.